Okay, ready എല്ലാവരും. So Khansa, your 1 minute starts now.
The true test of intelligence is its ability to change, Einstein says, and I have to agree with that. Instead of holding on to what we know and what we love, opening up our doors and broadening our horizons, that is what is the need for the day. Just a brief look at our gross enrollment ratio, which is 27.1% compared to Russia's 85 or China's 54, shows us just how drastic this is. A globalization and internationalization is what is required. So what does this advent of foreign universities look like? It looks like healthy competition where native universities will be evoked to better their standards, to provide better quality education to match up with the newly elected universities. It will also look like a complete abatement of the absolutely horrendous cash flow that we see from our students. It was estimated that about $18 million was spent by students overseas, which is predicted to rise to up to 80 million just this year. Added to this is, of course, all of the capabilities that a foreign university can bring, like research facilities, state-of-the-art technology, libraries, and so on.
Yes, so now it's your turn. So Sandra, you will get 1 minute and your time starts now.
The entry of foreign higher education institutes in India might seem inconsequential when viewed in isolation, but collectively they have the power to destroy the entire higher education system in the country. The first and the most prominent risk that stands here is the fact of quality dilution of education. This happens when these institutes are focused more towards profit making in the country rather than imparting of education. Not only that, instead of stopping brain drain, it will contribute more towards brain drain. Another factor to consider in this fraction of time is that instead of positive cultural exchange, it will lead to a disastrous and dominant in negative cultural and educational dominance by these foreign industries in our country, leading to more gap, not only cultural, but also traditional education systems of the India. So I would like to suggest one way is not to establish or not to give the power to these higher education systems in our country, rather focusing more towards the traditional education system of India.
Yes, so Khansa and Sandra, we move directly to your debate session and your time starts now.
I would first like to challenge your questioning of the global perspectives that it can bring about. I think one of the worst things that Indian traditional universities do, or education does, is its narrowing of education. And it does not give our students the capabilities it requires for them to actually meet with or contend with those who are actually ending up hiring them. So what is your...
Sandra?
These capabilities and comparisons that you're talking about is completely subjective. If you consider the top-notch positions in various top-notch industries, we have our Indian presence who studied from the traditional institutes of India. And if you talk about foreign industries and their institutes and their capability to impart better education, I think it's completely subjective and on the basis of this seeing of the person.
Yes, Khansa.
I mean so more in a sense of a global perspective, which you challenged exactly. You mean to say that the cross-cultural communications that would come about as a result of foreign universities, that would actually negatively affect our students? How so?
It would impact negatively to our students. Because I could give you an example. There is a university in Texas that is willing to impart knowledge in our institute through this UGC commission that has been recently given. And this gives the free will to this institute or university, Polytechnic University of Texas, which will implement over here. It will make these students, the first year, they will study in India itself. But the rest of the years, they will study in the host country, which again increases the imparity. And also, it's more like a marketing strategy. Come into our country, establish their base in our country, and take our students, take our educational system, our power, and then bring it to their base country.
Khansa?
That was one example, and I would like to contend with another example. Very successful education cities have been established in Qatar and United Arab Emirates, if you know. Universities like Murdoch, Wollongong have all established very successful universities. That is what we consider generally to be the global south, something that we also include ourselves in. And we have seen an exponential increase, like 32% in Saudi Arabia, 25% in Oman, and almost 50% in Bahrain. So that is
much success rate, yes. Sandra?
The biggest problem in our comparison is the fact that we are comparing countries like those and ours. If you compare the institutes of those countries and our countries, ours is relatively newer. We cannot ever compare the quality of education imparted by these both countries, because even if we have newer systems, we are capable of bringing more power rather than investing other universities in our own country.
Khansa?
But you mean to say that our education system is newer as compared to the Gulf countries?
No, not our education system, but the institutes of India are newer as compared to the other higher countries in the QS.
Institutions.
Institutions, okay. But I would like to again pose the question of asking you, these countries that you talked about, you say that they are older, but they have actually started their educational missions in a much later rate as well we have, if you look at our independence and when they have been established. So how does that contend?
Coming back to the topic of the debate, that is its impact on the education system of the country. They are very well established in their country. They can impact education in their country. But when they come to our country, their sole focus will be profit, not impacting sole education to the students of our country.
Yes, money-centric.
But I think you have to look at the cyclical nature of things. We talked about the brain drain everyone has. The brain drain, which means that we will get much more to invest into our own education, which will in turn increase the healthy competition. The natives will have the motivation, the drive for us to invest more into it. And we will have more to invest when we stop investing in, and when all of our cash goes out with our students into the international institutions, because they are coming here.
Yes, Sandra.
If these institutions are coming here, there is a report from Confederation of Indian Industries that states that more than 40% of professors from India are willing to move to the foreign education institutes in our country. So if they establish their very base in our own country, then definitely there will be a huge gap in quality education providers in our country that will will decrease the quality.
Your time has ended, Khansa and Sandra. Yes. Now let me invite our next pair onto stage.
Federal Bank Speak for India, Kerala Edition Season 8, in association with Madhrbhoomi.